We're here at Content Marketing World with the Enterprise Marketer podcast. And I'm here with Andrea Fryrear, which I don't know much about you. So could you tell me a little bit? No, me and Andrea are actually getting ready to go on stage and do our presentation on Agile Marketing. So Andrea, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I can't wait for this afternoon.
Oh, I know. This is we both, we presented together at ICC and it was great. But the audience here is, a little bit
Very
larger.
different.
Yeah.
Different group.
Different group of people, and I walked through Jessica Best's session, and it's completely full, and so that was super exciting too to see that people here really want to learn more about the advanced techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what's been going on lately, because there's been a change, right?
Yes, so exciting changes happening for me. I've been working as the content marketing manager for Survey Gizmo and Marketer Gizmo for about 2 years, and I recently left to start my own thing. So I'm doing content strategy, agile marketing transformations, consulting, lots and lots of writing, just really kind of dipping my toe in lots of things right now. It's really fun.
Cool. So you've also launched a new community, right?
I have launched a new community, yes. So the Agile Marketer Net. We're really trying to bring together lots of different Agile practitioners and have them share their stories about what's working, what they're trying. We're trying to get really specific. So what tools are you using? What methodology are you using? How often do you have a retro? How long is your iteration? And we had a first roundtable discussion last week with 4 different practitioners, and it was fascinating. Like what we learned in that hour was amazing. So it's really exciting to tap into this really smart community.
And it puts out some great content, right? So you can go out and say, wow, we should talk on this, right? Let's start some articles. And I love that you're going in deep, right? You're not, a lot of people still talk about the introduction, right? How do we do storytelling? What is agile marketing? And we get it. There's an audience that still needs to understand this. Just like content marketing, we still have to introduce it. But there's another audience that is cruising down the road. And I love that you're embracing that audience and then taking that content at the 300 level and making it understandable at the 200 level and then back up to the 100. Who are you seeing that's actually practicing agile marketing that you were maybe not aware of a year ago?
I think the people I've been most surprised to hear from are more and more agencies. And there's a great agency out in Denver, Sprout Content, and they actually were doing content for a software company. And so they learned about the Agile approach, and it was anytime marketers are exposed to the idea, they're like, why are we doing this? This is such an intuitive way to approach marketing. And so they do this with their clients. When they onboard a new client, they say, we run in month-long sort of big epic iterations, and then they do weekly sprints inside of that. And so your contract entitles you to 40 points. So an ebook is this many points and an article is this many points. And so it's like a menu for them to choose from. And then if they're going along and an opportunity comes up and the client wants to make a change, they can say, great, let's swap out this 4-point item for this other one that you want to pivot on. and it's working out really well for them, and it's helping them bill more and retain clients longer. But it was really cool to hear their story, and there are other agencies that are kind of coming out of the woodwork too. So I know that that's kind of a challenging one to tackle, and it's encouraging to hear that so many people are doing it.
And I mean, it's great because the more agencies that get into this, the more we can start to work together. Because rarely is there, in digital at least, an agency of record anymore. That there's usually a design agency, a content agency, and then the development agency, depending on how large the system is. So when an agency jumps onto this model and they're working with other agencies, you just rarely see that time to where it's one group working together. But when there is just one group, they still have separate groups within. And so the deliverables become chaotic, right? When are you going to be done with these elements so I can work on these elements? Right. And if you're not using the same tools or the same process, if you're waterfall and then I'm agile, then I'm waiting for all this stuff to come in and then starting to drop down, or you can start to release your chunks with me and then we follow a rhythm. And clients love that, right? You want that. You want the ability to make changes early and have them not take so much time down the road.
Right.
So I really like that agency model. How are you using Agile inside Fox to kick it off? I mean, what are some of those places where you've seen, if I could just hack this with Agile, it would go a lot better?
Well, it's what I'm learning really quickly is that there's a lot of things that I could be working on as sort of a solo practitioner, but I only have so many hours in each day. And so I was running around like mad my first week, and I was like, okay, this is not working. So I made a backlog for myself, like big epic backlog with the various categories of things that I needed to do. And then I was like, okay, good. It's all out here and I can see it. And then I can start, I'm forcing myself to do solo weekly iterations where I pull things from my backlog.
You stand up and talk to yourself in the morning?
I haven't started standing up to talk to myself. I should talk to my cats. Maybe I should do that.
Or bring your kids out.
Yeah.
Like, honey, this is what mommy's working on today.
Check in with me tomorrow and ask me how I did.
Yeah. I heard that word yesterday, mommy. Yeah, I know. So you're seeing that, that process, especially as a business owner, there are so many things going on and there's so much of your time that has to be billable so you can generate revenue so you can do some of the other stuff. And it all collides. And when it's not written down and it's not put up and estimated or at least, sorted, prioritized, then you can easily just go from left to right and think you're making progress, but really you're slowing yourself down.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And as a solo, I did solo marketing for, a year. And when I wrote the book, it was like I had to have like that internal dialogue with myself that says, okay, this is the accountable side of Jeff saying, what's the unaccountable Jeff doing right now?
Right.
And I heard a friend who owns an agency. He once said that he imagined his brands like Fox. He imagined in the room, there's a fox sitting in the corner. And that fox is sitting there with his arms crossed, looking at you saying, what are you doing? Right? Are you being effective with my money? And I'm Mr. Fox. And that helped him stop to running around all over the place. So I like that you're documenting it.
Yeah.
So from an agile marketing perspective, what do you think is next? What are the conversations that need to happen? And what are you hearing from people? What are the questions that they're asking?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles that I think people are facing right now, and it's been borne out in a couple of studies, is that people are feeling adrift in terms of how do I learn? Where can I get really helpful training or information that I can rely on? And that's really like what drove me to start the AgileMarketer.net is like, okay, like people have been writing about it on various sites. Here's an article here and an article here and an article here. You've got Roland and Frank's podcast, which is great. And there's a lot of resources that are running around out there. But if we can find a way to pull them all together, and collect them in one place, then hopefully people will be able to go there, and maybe we're directing them out to other places. But if there's kind of a centralized repository of Agile resources, I'm hoping that will help go over that next hurdle and let people just take the next step with confidence, whatever that step might be.
Oh, and I think interacting with those practitioners too, like you're doing, and having them start to create and curate some content too. So we can hear what that, what somebody is that's a practitioner that's got into it, what are the problems that they're truly facing in there, and not necessarily, what the Scrum Guide says about something or the changes there.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. What are you sensing from the software perspective? Are you seeing vendors starting to look more agile marketing as a thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I feel like every other day I've got some Google alert coming through of, take your team more agile with this software that we have. And there are a lot of companies who are seeing this as the emerging trend that it is, and they want to tap into that movement a little bit, which on the one hand is awesome, because if we can find a tool that's very out of the box and very easy for marketers to just start using, then I think that could help with adoption. But on the other hand, you don't want something that's overly complex right away, that's going to slow you down, and you're going to get bogged down in figuring out how software works at the same time you're trying to figure out how Agile works.
Oh, yeah.
So it's too much learning curve too fast. So, I mean, there's, I know that Jira's got a marketing specific sort of
the Jira core piece,
Workfront's trying to kind of work in that space. Reich is trying to work in that space. I think everybody's getting a little bit better as they go along and learning what we actually need as marketers. But it's a process, I think, a work in progress for everybody.
It is. And that I hope the vendors like Atlassian and Microsoft that have these, and Raleigh, that have these amazing agile systems that are so tuned for software will be the ones that really start to come in and take over and start to embrace, because changing up the product item in those systems to fit is so much easier than understanding the product item and building a backlog engine, right? That is flexible and allows for people to change the rules in the game like Agile does. But yeah, you're right. It's like when when Enterprise Marketer, we launched a Jira site, and I look over to Michelle, who is, our COO, and she's a Scrum Master, and she's ran Jira for a couple of years now. I'm like, honey, can you make this work for us? Because it's so complicated out of the box. You just can't hit play and go.
Right.
And then some of the other systems, you get into it, and it's like, well, it's so unflexible, and it doesn't necessarily follow all the rules I follow, so I will have to have something else that's like sitting on the side, right?
Yeah.
So what are you hoping to see out of like this event? What's that next level engagement that you're hoping the attendees will get from sitting through the session and maybe then coming back next year?
Well, I saw from like Christina Halverson's session, she was talking about testing and iterating and learning quickly. And I was talking with Jay Akunzo last night, and he was talking about learning quickly and rapid iteration. These are things that are just like working their way into the content marketing vocabulary, and everybody's starting to realize this is the right way to do this type of marketing. And now we just have to make the connection that, hey, there's a system that will help you do this. Like,
exactly.
You realize you need to do it. We've got a way that will empower you to do it systematically over time without going crazy. Like, let's talk.
Exactly. It's funny because that's the same dilemma content marketing faced, right? Everybody came here and they loved the event and they loved what they were hearing, and they went back and they said, let's take these 2 principles of content marketing, of like the 6, and let's put them into action. And then it's like, well, it's not working. It's like, yeah, but there was like this whole content strategy thing that you forgot to document, right? And there was this whole consistency thing you forgot to do. And it works well when it's all together, when 1 + 2 + 3 are in there. But whenever you start just breaking out components, sure, it's effective and it helps solve some problems, but it's a part of a much larger system that can be put into play and then actually help your team become fully effective.
Right. And that's what I hope that, you and I can help people understand, is like the idea of iteration and the idea of rapid learning is great, but it's even better if you do all of it together, right? If you do the planning, the sprint planning, if you do the daily stand-up, bring in all of the pieces and watch what the exponential improvement
absolutely
can be.
And I'm sure you're seeing another problem that I sense is going to be like the 2017 problem in marketing is, now that you're on your own, you can't rely on somebody else who has like the graphic design experience. You have to become a cross-functional marketer.
Right.
And you have these organizations that still have these silos, that still have people in the assembly line that are being slowed down by vacations and whatever that is, resources being pulled around, and they're not getting that ability to create that content continually. How are you yourself getting over that hurdle of learning these new skills that you need to use to produce content?
Well, I mean, the Agile principle of like perfection is the enemy of done, or whatever that. I don't think I'm saying that right, but that general idea is I have to get over that for myself of like, I can create a graphic in half an hour that is going to be just fine.
Yep.
And it can accompany my article, and it will be out, and it's serving the needs of my audience, and it's great. I'm trying to learn to edit video and things like this that I've never had to do.
Yeah.
And I have to not be perfect, right? So the first video I put out is not going to be as good as the second, is hopefully going to be not as good as the third, and it's going to be an ongoing process of improvement. But we have to get over everything has to be perfect and completely pristine before we send it out, because our audience is going to teach us things that we would never have thought about. And we are going to lose a lot of time if we overthink and overproduce up front.
Yeah, a good plan. Go for a good plan, right?
Yeah.
Not the best plan, not the perfect plan, because that's what Agile is all about. It's changing the plan as it goes based off of the information you're receiving. And, a good enough graphic, it's not that hard to do.
Right. No, it's very easy. I mean, I'm totally in love with Canva right now. Like, it makes it so easy for me as I'm not a graphic designer, but I can play one on TV.
Exactly. And if you're not a photographer, Dollar Photo Club or some of these Creative Commons sites, that all you have to do is give them a link that says, hey, I used your photo and here it is.
Yep.
And you've got that compelling image that you're wanting to use to pull somebody in.
Yep.
And then the video side, it's getting simpler and simpler because the consumers of cameras and phones are all wanting to produce video. So you can use those tools to start with. You can use iMovie, right? And you can produce something that works. And even a green screen is like $60 on Amazon. And you can take your home lamps, put some different light bulbs in there, point them at the green screen, put your iPhone up, take the video, and then with a $50 piece of software, pull it out and put something else in the background. And now you look a lot more professional than you did before. It wasn't that expensive and hard.
Yeah.
And it's not Hollywood quality, and you don't have, rail systems and a team, and microphones all over the place, but you're getting the value out to the person.
And it allows you to then test it too. So if you're in for $100 total investment on your video strategy, you can put things out there. It's a low risk way to even see if that works for your audience. Like, maybe that's not what's going to resonate right now.
Yeah.
Maybe your audience doesn't want to consume video. Maybe they prefer a podcast. Maybe they would prefer totally written or visual infographics or something. But these tools let us try it all. Yeah. We're not just assuming what people will want anymore.
And my favorite thing about all these pieces, like photography or video, is there are so many people out there that have been doing this for years, and they've produced YouTube. They have their own content marketing YouTube channels where you can go and learn what the best camera is for intro and how to cut a scene and do all these elements that you think you got to figure out on your own, but they're all documented. Right. And somebody is out there that's already teaching you. And you can just watch those videos and try and take that workshop approach, right? Don't just jump in and say, okay, I'm going to, I got the information, I'm going to try it at some point. Sit down, take your kids out, grab some video, grab 2 cameras and grab the same video and then edit it together.
Right.
And you're going to get better and better by practicing and learning how to have a hobby of the stuff you love. So I'm excited to see everything you're doing. And your brand is awesome. You've done a great job of making it look like you've been doing this forever, right? It's Good. 1 month in, and I'm like, dang, I'm sitting back looking at the Agile Marketer going, I need to start writing some content for her.
That's right, you do.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, and I can't wait to be able to speak with you in a couple of hours. Yeah.